Video games. What makes them so special? Many people have had their ideas of what makes games great since games were first invented. Some say it's the co-op, some say it's the graphics, and a justifiable amount of people say it's the gameplay, which yes, that's a big reason. But there's one that has, in my opinion, been overlooked in recent times, and that is single-player campaigns. Before I begin, I understand that there'll always be debate in terms of what the best aspect of gaming is, but this is my opinion. So don't kill me, alright? Now, for this essay, I'll be going over 3 different topics. Or really 2. And why they prove my point. So without further ado, let's get started. The first reason as to why I believe single-player campaigns are the best aspect of gaming is the level of immersion one feels while playing. I feel this is something that ties in very well with the storytelling of a game, because while the written narrative takes you on a journey of character development, story progression, visual spectacle, and level of detail that brings you to a level of immersion co-op based games for example just can't do. I feel this is something that ties in very well with the storytelling. The first reason why I believe single-player campaigns are the best aspect of gaming is the level of immersion one feels while playing. While one can say co-op games, for example, have a level of immersion because of the idea that it brings a new level of enjoyment to the gaming experience, as well as adding a second player that can interact as well as add more to specific games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Destiny, and etc. I feel that is the very reason why co-op doesn't beat single player. It's only truly effective for very specific games. When you look at co-op games, there is a level of exclusivity that doesn't scream universal. Not to mention how when you play a game specifically made for co-op, there are so many hoops and hurdles that you have to jump through. You have to play around with the settings, make sure the game has co-op capabilities in general, internet connection, making sure the person you're with has all the things needed, yada 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 yada. It's a lot. With single player gaming, it's easy as do, re, mi, a, b, c, 1, 2, 3. Another thing that makes that distinction clear is the examples of single player games that have suffered because of these elements forcefully being integrated. For example, Marvel's Avengers has a well-written narrative mixed with likable characters, faithful adaptations, looking at you Kamal Khan,
I love you.
Wait, what?
as well as an entertaining story. But the thing that almost single-handedly killed the game's lifespan was the live service co-op aspect. With them putting less attention into the most important aspects like gameplay, graphics, frame rate, glitch monitoring, and overall quality control. The same can be said for another clearly single-player game that was forced to turn into a live service / co-op game. This being Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. This game has been so compromised by the greedy people at Rocksteady, just like the greedy people at Square Enix, that they allowed the game to make the exact same mistakes that the Avengers game made. Because of that, the game had to get delayed for a 3rd time. These are clear examples of how games can be compromised and butchered by the need for said co-op. The second and final thing that makes single-player gaming the most definitive gaming experience is the storytelling. Single-player games are, in my opinion, the most influential aspect of gaming. Not only does the power of storytelling really transport you to another world, but it also has the ability to bring people together and experience something truly special. That's what makes gaming especially so universal. In my opinion, the reason why gaming is the single most lucrative storytelling format is because of that. Gaming is just a step beyond every other aspect of what media has to offer. It can immerse people in a story in a way that is only rivaled by television, in my opinion. It can actually place the person experiencing the narrative into the story as the character, allowing them to interact with the world, having a longer runtime that can give a very detailed and longer story, and in my eyes, single-player campaigns are really the only ones to achieve such a level of immersion. But to be clear, the most important part of a single-player campaign, like I said, are the stories. As one of my all-time favorite film directors once said,
"Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us."
modern-day video games are especially good with story. Not only does the development of the technology also allow us as the player to become fully immersed into the world of the story being told, it also allows us to spend more time in that world with more than one thing to get invested in, and more unique gameplay styles to have fun with. One of the biggest examples of a game that makes these efforts would be Life is Strange. Life is Strange is one of the most visceral and lived-in games that I've ever played, and very unique at the same time. It also serves as a perfect example of why single-player gaming is definitive. The amount of time dedicated to its characters and the telltale aspect of its gameplay, not to mention its time travel mechanic, makes it a truly unique and immersive experience. With the main character Max serving as a very relatable protagonist that I find to be very easily likable, along with her friend Chloe, who is also equally as interesting and likable. But to go back to Max for a minute, Max is someone who is distant and a bit different, but is always paying attention and looking for companionship. And throughout the game, I cared so much for her and wanted her to prevail and figure out the mystery of what was going on in her town. And the game has so many more unique characters and stories that it tells, and they all fit so well. Not to mention Insomniac Spider-Man games, the Kingdom Hearts series, and Square Enix Tomb Raider games, which are my personal favorite examples of single-player stories. With the Insomniac Spider-Man games, what makes them special is not only the story or the gameplay, but it's the characters. The iterations of Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and their family and friends are so well developed and iconic that they have placed themselves in the history books. They understood what made the comics and the characters within those pages so special, to the point where this series of games is often the golden standard of Spider-Man's storytelling, right along with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, the Amazing Spider-Man films, and the Miles Morales / Gwen Stacy / Peter Parker Spider-Verse trilogy, to the point where this series is celebrated and rewarded by acknowledgement in comics and pretty soon, movies. But most importantly, they understand what makes Spider-Man a hero. A hero who saves lives, interacts with the people he saves, or the people they save, who is a man or woman that is just like us, but not, and spends their life wearing a spandex outfit and going out there to hopefully make their world just a little better. And in a world where the heroes we grew up with feel more like militia than heroes, it feels good that these amazing single-player experiences can still give that to us, as well as the Avengers story and the Guardians game. And let's not forget Kingdom Hearts and that series. Harry's ability to be a fun, light-hearted series that takes the worlds of Disney and Final Fantasy and merges them into this wholly unique story that spans across several games, with more to come, that focus on characters, original and already established, that we've fallen in love with, and the fun and unique gameplay style that is both challenging and easily adaptable. And with the Square Enix Tomb Raider games, they really show the strength and the vulnerability of Lara Croft. They give Lara more character and heart than just pixelated eye candy. Not to mention that, similar to the Uncharted series, Square Enix Tomb Raider games are fun, intense, sometimes eerie, and overall very entertaining games. They have heart and soul. That's what's important. Which is why whenever a studio feels that they can make movies out of these iconic stories, some of them work, but a lot of them don't. Because while the bad ones are almost always never able to translate the heart of what makes those stories iconic, the best ones do, while still doing something new and enjoyable with it. Overall, I've never been much of a gaming person, but I've always loved single-player games. The idea of spending precious time with a character or a group of characters that you can latch on to, relate to, grow with, whether it's Sonic and Friends, the Spider Fam, Lara Croft, Max and Chloe, and etc. That's why I love storytelling. The idea that storytelling and telling a story can form a whole new world out of pure imagination and help tell stories that would often not be told is magic to me. And single player, in my opinion, is the only form of gaming that has been able to do it. It's something that no other aspect of gaming, in my opinion, can top.
You said you were going out, but I heard you through the walls. I said don't go far. You had me searching for a reason, but I was in the dark. You and me after, you and me before. Time splits in two on both sides of the door. You and me after, you and me before. Time splits in two on both sides of the door. What a waste for you to be pulled under the water. What a shame. What a waste for you to be pulled under the